Trump is a E. coli feces addict. I'm not joking. Trump guzzles the feces of bacteria. He loves it, of toxic E. coli bacteria. Elon Musk is an addict. He worships E. coli feces.
Fascism isn't coming. It's here. It's here. It's here.
Welcome to the new paradigm. This land is your land, white man. All the mothers are welcome to try to survive. Welcome to the wasteland. Welcome to the new paradigm. Not every day you see an empire shift up and die. What a time to be half alive. To the grave. Take it to the grave. Accelerating and we're running out of need I remind you that you're still half alive. In the wasteland there's no game. To be half alive. Right on time, right on time. What a time to be half alive. Right on time to be on the wrong side. Welcome to the wasteland. Welcome to Grifter Paradise. This land is your land. Rich man, poor motherfuckers gonna kill each other just to survive. Welcome to the wasteland. Welcome to the new paradigm. Not every day you see an empire shift up and die. Can you believe we let it all go to the
the other one, No Organized Chaos. Actual fandom.
You should delete your channel. The female version of Dick Grayson is Pussy Grey Daughter.
He's not alive, but he's right.
But really, if you want to do any kind of like karmic justice back in the fucking world for the damage that you're causing with this kind of shit, you should just delete your fucking channel. Okay? Drink it in. Yeah. Absorb it. Let it wash over you. Look, here's the thing.
It's the ever-loving blue-eyed thing. It's clobbering time.
I vaguely know who actual fandom is.
Hey, motherfuckers.
The journey that we choose as fans. Everything's just not always going to be great. And when it's great, you got to celebrate the hell out of it. But when it's not, you just move on to some other shit. It's like the easiest thing in the world.
Hello and welcome. Here we are, back in the flesh, like we never left. I appreciate the compliment to the song, or the low key diss of all my other songs. Could be that too. I'll accept either one, honestly. This one. At least you're talking about it. You know what I mean? That's all that matters these days. The currency is just attention. It doesn't matter what you're doing. It doesn't matter the quality of it. It doesn't matter, how many people you're fucking over or hurting with what you're doing. As long as you're getting attention, that's the way to go. And you know who I want to give some attention to right now? Bob of the Old Ways. Hey.
Speaking of that song, I just want to clue you into a little bit of advice I learned from some masters a while ago, which is that Timbaland knows the way to the top of the charts, and maybe if you get with him, you can perfect the art.
It's so true. And honestly, it's kind of surreal or kind of weird coincidence, because I have a clip here from someone who is, probably definitely one of my top 3 favorite music people of my life that I've enjoyed. And he's no longer with us, but his band was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame recently, and he actually did do an album with Timbaland as the producer, and it's kind of dumb. It's kind of bad. And that'd be Chris Cornell. I have this clip right here.
Supposed pro-life movement, these people feel like whatever they're championing, this is a cause that is really necessary, when in reality there's people already alive that really need help, that these people aren't expending any energy or money towards. There's living people that are dying. Why not shift the energy towards that? Why not shift the energy towards real problems? And
that was probably a novel thing for a celebrity to say back in the early 90s.
Maybe. I feel like society or pop culture was way more pro-choice back then.
Sure. Yeah. Well, I mean, generally, yeah, the MTV for sure. It was the white. I mean, the Christian nationalism had not quite made the end run that it's been doing in the last couple of decades.
Yeah, and he did look very Christ-like there, so maybe people paid more attention to what he was saying.
He looked Christ-like all the time. I don't know if you've ever seen or heard the song "Jesus Christ Pose."
Jesus Christ Pose, yeah.
Yeah, we're not talking about Timbaland being Christ-like. He's anti-Christ-like. But he is pretty embarrassing lately because he's been going all in on this AI bullshit. And I watched a video about it not long ago, and it was just like, man, I was never like a big Timbaland fan or anything, but you got to respect the guy who was able to, get many artists, up to the top of the charts and stuff, as Rivers Cuomo was saying about. He wasn't able to do that with Chris Cornell's though, so that's interesting. That was his least successful album, was whenever he decided to do a little hip hop flavored bullshit.
Not everyone can be Timbaland, but if you can't get Timbaland on your side, maybe you can get Akon to be on your record, and that'll help you out.
Yeah, probably. I mean, I don't know if, all I know is that about Akon is he has that one song with the Lonely Island that's fucking hilarious.
Yeah, like he was guesting on everybody's songs at one point.
And it felt so good. A woman let me put my penis inside of her.
There was like a year or two where Akon was popping up on everybody's record. It was really, really strange.
I guess I wasn't familiar with the artist that he would have been on their records, because I haven't been tapped into like the pop charts, whatever the hell's going on with pop music generally, in a long time. It has to be something that kind of like crosses over a little bit, or just becomes so big and ubiquitous that I can't avoid it for me to even know about it. Yeah, anyway, yeah, man, it's embarrassing. The whole thing's embarrassing. Like, it's one thing to go in on the AI bullshit like he did, which is pretty fucking embarrassing. You're Timbaland, dude. Like, he's got, and this is what I think that it is based on what I've seen. He's got probably a multiple fucking hard drives full of like partial song ideas that I think is just kind of not inspired to do anymore. You know what I mean? Like, he's just kind of gotten older and complacent. He's not inspired anymore. And so like he sees this AI thing come along. He's like, oh, that's the answer to my problems. I can be Timbaland again and, make music and shit. And it's like, but yeah, at what cost, man? At what cost? You're writing a script about Def Jam Icon and Soul Survivor. With Young Jeezy is one of the songs in the game. Oh, damn. Okay. Yeah, I mean, he was never a great rapper, but he knew how to get Missy Elliott was one that I had a lot of appreciation for back in the day. I don't know what happened to her. She was still making music. Who knows? It's not why we're here. This is not really going to be much of a FAPcast necessarily. It was, it was going to be, and it still kind of is. But we're just playing it loose, man, because a lot of the stuff that we were planning on kind of diving into a little bit more tonight, we'd already kind of talked about last night. But we were going to have Morgan with us, but Morgan's not able to be with us, so it's just me and Bob again. Sorry about that. Sorry, we got to repeat.
Yeah, sorry, folks.
So but there's plenty of stuff to talk about, and including the stuff we've already talked about last night. And I'm feeling a bit better today. I was a bit out of sorts yesterday, a bit all over the place, tired, kind of fucking just not able to focus.
Consider this the second draft of yesterday's stream.
Yeah, there you go. And to start off, I want to start off with something I'm fucking pissed about. So here's this is included with the bill to get the shutdown over with. One of the things included in that, so just for a little context, anybody that's not aware, I was a journalist by trade. I was a writer for most recently, before YouTube, I had been working for a local publication here in Oregon that covered cannabis products. And so, I was in the weed industry technically. And I had gained a lot of appreciation. I've always been into weed, but like once I moved to Oregon where it was legal and shit, and I was able to kind of engage with it in a mature way instead of just like, let's get baked. I recognize the medicinal effects of, like CBD, which doesn't get you high. It just has a lot of medicinal effects, things like that, I was an advocate, am an advocate for. And then this apparently was fucking snuck into that bill.
Government decided to ban hemp. That's right. A secret line was added into the spending bill that had to pass to reopen the government. to ban the entire hemp industry. Mitch McConnell led this vote and said that it would only ban certain intoxicating hemp products from bad actors, but in reality, it bans 99% of every product sold today, whether it's CBD, the hemp-derived THC products, or otherwise, they're all going to be banned. 365 days, this law and new definition takes place, and 350,000 jobs in the hemp industry, over $70 billion of annual economic activity, and tens of thousands of small businesses are all getting wiped out. Real great thing happening in this economy, huh? So what do we do about it now? At this point, the bill is in law. President signed it. That cannot be amended, but it can be overwritten in the next spending bill. A new spending bill is going to have to get passed somewhere around mid-January because the current one only budgeted for about up to then anyway. When this happens, we have another opportunity to put new sensible regulations into place to actually regulate the hemp industry properly, where it protects kids, it protects the consumers, and it keeps the freedom of choice available for people to just choose to use the products.
Yeah, as he said, this is it's gonna cost a lot of jobs. I mean, it's what it is. It's gonna basically just revert back to what it was prior to. I think because I wrote an article about whenever it was the ban on hemp was lifted in like 2019, I think 2020 maybe, 2019. So that's basically what it was going to revert back to, where federally even hemp is illegal, which is just there's only one reason for that, in my view, and that is industries that had been, used to making a lot of money on certain products were not making as much money on those products because hemp, and then also, cannabis. So for anyone not aware, hemp is the cannabis plant that doesn't have the stuff that gets you high in it, but it's very versatile material. You can make it into all kinds of stuff, but also just banning hemp effectively bans cannabis in other products. So federally, it's going to be back to that. State by state, they can still, and I'm sure the ones that are already legal are going to keep doing it. That does create problems when it comes to like banking, because banks that are federal, they can't bank with them. So there's those kind of issues. Nonetheless, this is fucked up, and I think it's pretty clearly because somebody was not making the money they were used to making, and they managed to get lobby whoever. So. Yeah.
I have nothing to say. I agree with all of that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, on the other hand, I watched this happen where like I moved to Oregon the same year that the cannabis was fully decriminalized. And within the few years after that I was here, I also working in the industry and writing about stuff as it would happen. So I was not just writing about products. I was writing about, after a while, it's all I was really doing was writing about like events and things like that, like different legalization efforts across the world I would write about. Nonetheless, you started seeing these big corporations come in instead of, there'd been these farmer like families here in the Pacific Northwest for decades. They've been doing it while it was illegal, right? They were growing weed up here, and then, turns legal. And the goal was to be able to get as many of these, farm families that had been doing this for so long to transition them to the, legalized, legit above board version of the, growing and selling the product. And that, happened for a lot of them. But then what you started seeing happening is fucking corporations come in and squeeze people out, and, yeah, it's fucked up. Nonetheless,
and
so that's a whole problem.
Banning hemp is so stupid for all those reasons, but also because the plant itself has a huge range of like industrial and textile applications.
Yeah, well, I mean,
like
there's
Neon
that.
Zephyr is just saying right there, yeah.
Like all of these things that Neon Zephyr is saying is true, and then also just the medicinal aspect of it, like. It is possible, and I know this because I've done it, to stop taking prescription, pharma meds for anxiety if you're using CBD the right way, right? I literally did that because I didn't like taking the fucking anxiety meds that I was on because there's, it's narcotic. It's fucking gross. It made me feel gross. I didn't like it. Started using CBD in a certain way, and I was able to not have to take that shit anymore. And so that seems pretty, to me anyway, obvious is one of the reasons why certain people would not want that easily accessible, which is fucked up. Literally a plant that is like almost, the more I learned about it, the more. Did you know we have THC receptors in our brains?
Yeah.
Like it's almost like we are, kind of evolutionarily designed to fucking consume cannabis in a way. So it's frustrating because it's literally a plant that's here for us to, engage with and use to our benefit, medicinal benefit, and then just kind of to, relax away from the, perils of being in 3D. And then, these kind of companies do this kind of shit. And it's like, man, it's not a good sign of the direction things are going whenever this goes backwards. You know what I mean? But obviously there's a lot of signs that things aren't going in the best direction. So this is just another one. Yeah. Well, yes. I mean, in a lot of cases that's true, but not all of them. It's there have been plenty of people that have had their sentences commuted or whatever, but not enough. And it's just, even if somebody gets let out of prison after a couple of decades, their lives are fucking nothing at that point. It's so hard to restart a life after you've been in prison for a couple of fucking decades or whatever. So a lot of damage, a lot of generational damage was done via the war on drugs generally, but most egregiously I think is weed because it's the least harmful thing. Not to say it can't be harmful. It can be. It can be. There's been many cases here in the Pacific Northwest of cannabis-induced psychosis. So, like, where I'm from in Texas, the weed that I used to smoke was like ditch weed. It was like Mexican dirt weed kind of. It was coming in brick form, dried up and stuff, and it was not the best. It probably had about 4 to 7% THC, per plant, generally around there. Now you go into a weed shop, you can get, some nugs of some stuff that's like, it's beautiful buds and stuff like that. And it's like 35% THC, much stronger shit. And people just some people make the mistake of smoking that all the time, like all day long. And that can really fuck up your perception of reality, believe it or not. So, yep. Pain management. I mean, like CBD is fucking fantastic for inflammation. So, and so much of the general pains that people have, I'm not talking about like severe injury caused pains, but your average aches and pains and stuff like that people get as they get older, that's just inflammation. And CBD is great for it. Anyway, the finest, ooh-wee, yeah. Yeah, exactly. I mean, alcohol is the biggest example. Like the fact that alcohol, do you have any idea how many fucking people die from alcohol directly every year? It's a lot. A fucking lot. You know how many die from weed? I don't know, maybe like 3, something like that. It used to be 0, but I think now because of like things like the psychosis and then just people driving stoned a lot more, maybe some people die. But anyways, moving on. This is a follow-up on something you had brought up, Bob, and I'm curious to learn about it. I saw a clip of the CEO of Spotify, I guess, doing some kind of a congressional hearing or whatever, and they were asking about how much money artists make on his platform, and his answers were not good. But here's this.
About the Spotify boycott, you understand that Project 2025 wants to make it illegal for the kinds of small artists that you listen to continue to make their music. Nobody's asking you to sacrifice small artists. You can go find other ways to support them. Buy their music instead of streaming it on Spotify. Go show up to their shows. I don't know, donate to their Venmos, whatever. You don't have to sacrifice small artists to participate in the Spotify boycott. By the way, if y'all don't know, we're boycotting Spotify because they are running ICE recruitment ads and they don't have to do that. But this idea that sacrifices are not going to have to be made in order to stop fascism, Timothy Snyder says you either fight for freedom or you die in unfreedom. You understand that if Donald Trump and the fascists get their way, we won't have small independent musicians able to make the kind of music that they want, especially if that music criticizes the government or is deemed immoral by white Christian nationalists. We all have to make sacrifices. Now we have to voluntarily give things up right now, or far more will be forcibly taken away from us in the future. You don't have to abandon your small artists. You don't have to abandon other folks. That's why mutual aid is a key component of effective resistance. When the tactics that we need to employ, the strategies that we have to use in order to erode, impact the pillars of support under the regime, when that has unintentional consequences for folks in our community, then we need to be able to organize and engage in mutual aid work so that we all take care of each other. The more we realize that that is the dynamic that has to exist, the more we start to embrace the reality that we all have to make sacrifices now, but that we should not put those sacrifices squarely on the shoulders of other folks without us stepping in to also give up a little bit in order to compensate, in order to support those folks who are being most impacted by whatever strategy we are using.
I think what she's talking about is obviously true and based. But like, I think it speaks to, maybe she gets to this later in the video, it's a longer video, but the idea that like we are addicted to our fucking apps. You know what I mean? Like the idea that this person in the comment is saying, oh, I'm not going to give up my, my smaller artists or whatever. It's like, so you seem to be implying that that's the only avenue you have to listen to music. And it maybe it's definitely the easiest, but that's not the only one. It's like, and so when she's saying sacrifice something like, artist or whatever, it's like really just more like kind of inconveniencing yourself a little bit to go a different way to get it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's the convenience we're addicted to, not the apps themselves. The apps are just, but yeah. And she's absolutely right. People, I guess there doesn't really, she's saying in a much nicer tone, but people really need to understand that you, listener, personally will have to sacrifice something if we're going to get through this. There is no one coming to save us.
What you sacrifice so that, it's a temporary thing, or are you going to let others choose what is taken from you and it never gets given back? That's really what it boils down.
Exactly. Now, speaking as someone who has never been on Spotify and never used it, there's super. I'm an Apple Music person, so they're not much better. But there are tons of alternate ways to get music, and there's even ways to convert your Spotify playlist to the new app if you want to. So you won't even have to look up all of those songs all over again. You can just port them into the new app or the new platform you're using. There are apps that help you convert between apps. So it's a very small thing to give up.
There's literally apps for that. And you never know what, finding a different platform or a way to listen to music or whatever might open you up to something that you wouldn't have if you just stayed, complacent on Spotify. I've been thinking about looking into the title, see what's going on with that. But, one thing I know for sure is that, I haven't actually released my music yet. I will be eventually, but for now, really the only place you can get it if you want to get it is just follow me on on Patreon, not Spotify, on Patreon. And I'm getting ready to post the final versions of the mastered tracks and stuff pretty soon. And it's free. Follow me on there. Just follow me, and then you'll get the link, and there you go, free music. YouTube Music is another one. Like you're already on the platform right now.
Exactly.
It actually does a pretty decent job of separating, music from just regular videos, which it didn't used to do. It used to kind of combine your history and a lot more shit. But yeah. Yep. What else we got? JD Vance, his face is fucking weird.
Young people are saying housing is way too expensive. Why is that? Because we flooded the country with...
Never mind the fact that what he's saying here is just absolute bonkers, insane propaganda that is not based in reality at all. what he's saying is that the reason why young people don't understand why there's no housing, why they can't afford houses, because it brought immigrants in. So wait, you're saying these immigrants that came here illegally and they're not supposed to be here, and they're also sucking off of the system, even though, as we proved a couple of weeks ago, they can't do that. But they're also buying what, $400,000 houses and just snatching those all up. Is that what he's saying? It seems to be what he's saying. But also his face is Botox to shit. That's the other point.
30 million illegal immigrants who were taking houses that ought by right go to American citizens. And at the same time, we weren't building enough new houses to begin with, even for the population that we had.
What?
Yeah, and Ben Shapiro is on this kick too. Like he's saying similar shit. So like they're, yeah.
That's just that is like so stupid that it really feels like we shouldn't have to make a response to that. It should just be obviously stupid.
That's why the main thing I wanted to look at is look at his face. He's clearly just Botoxed this shit, to where he looks like he has I don't know, like he's been bitten by or stung by a bunch of bees, maybe. It's
not the bees.
I mean, he's got a chubby face anyway, but like there's something going on where it's like there's not enough muscle movement happening for how much his gums are flapping. Anyway, yeah, what a piece of shit. Big piece of shit. All these guys are pedophiles, and defenders of pedophiles. There's
Indeed.
That.
And we need to really lean into that, because that is what's going to bring them down. We all know the power of accusing someone of that, even if it isn't true, which, I mean, you should never accuse someone if you don't have grounds, obviously.
Right. And the thing is, they definitely know the power of accusing someone of that, because, yeah. Like I was saying, it's go ahead, sorry.
And just having the ability, when a conservative starts flapping their gums, to just say, "Shut up, pedophile."
Yep,
is going to be
basically anytime once somebody reveals to me that they are still pro MAGA at this point, I'm just going to say, "Oh wow, it's kind of weird." I wouldn't take the pro pedophile position if it was if I was you, but okay, man, whatever you want to do.
Yeah, and they know it. This is why they're fighting it so hard. It's not just because this scandal can bring down Trump as a person. It's because once it becomes clear that Trump was at the very least complicit in Epstein's crimes, it will discredit every person and institution who enabled Trump. None of them will have any moral currency left. Every church and pastor, every politician and pundit, every celebrity, CEO, tech bro, anyone who helped make him happen can now be slapped with, "Oh, you're okay with PDF files. Go fuck yourself."
Some people still see Trump as a damn patriot and a hero. People like respected, venerated American icon actor John Voight.
Over New York City is a Muslim that's going to take down the city that never sleeps, the city of life's dreams, this city that our ancestors brought forth in prosperity and greatness and liberty. This city will turn into a forbidden place of darkness. The blood, sweat, and tears that the city of New York was built on will turn into a virtual refugee shelter for the
fucking detail with which these fucking people describe what they're afraid of is like, it's almost like fantasizing it. You know what I mean? Like
they've been thinking about it for years.
It's going to be so bloody. The Sharia law is going to, oh God. Oh yeah. It's like, dude, what the fuck are you talking about? It's just the most blatant fucking Islamophobia you could possibly have. It's weird.
Yeah, Angelina Jolie, come get your boy. Come get your daddy.
Right. But I mean, the thing is, I don't think I don't think they're on good terms. So she's just like, that ain't my dad, or at least they weren't last I heard. So apparently he was a piece of shit to her. Imagine that. He's not a good father. But I mean,
But the man we're looking at on screen right now, this man, pedophile enabler, That's it. He's taking the pro-pedophile position right now.
It's weird. Not only that, but he's like, hey, pedophile in chief, could you please help me with another issue that's going on? I'm really concerned about the state of the condition of New York City. Where you did a lot of your pedophile activities.
Yeah. That should be the first bullet out of our rhetorical gun. Every time you talk to a conservative or hear someone spouting like MAGA ideas is, oh, pedophile. This is the pedophile position. It's the Epstein position. And that's what they're truly afraid of, because number one, they know it's true, and they know the power that will have over them. They cannot have any cultural or political legitimacy if everybody thinks, oh, people who talk like this are in favor of protecting PDF files.
Yeah. And Chevy, yeah, I need to finish it, but it was pretty great. The few episodes I watched. Very different from the movie, but that's okay. It's actually a good thing. Here's this.
There's
is
a
just
show? That went under my radar completely. I
got,
didn't know there was a show.
Donald Glover as and then
as
I
Mr.
forget
Smith.
I forget the chick's name. Like basically, it's completely different kind of story, and it's because like instead of being married for years or whatever, they literally are just kind of teamed up without knowing each other to be a married couple. Kind of staking out or whatever. And yeah, hijinks ensue, but it's actually pretty cool. Like the relationship that forms and stuff like that is pretty good.
Cool. I'll look it up.
Yeah. And in same topic of John Voight and what he's saying here, I saw this, and it's just like, for one thing, man, this is one reason AI art needs to be fucking smothered in the cradle. But
it's amazing, like you said, the detail with which they talk about this stuff, showing that they've been fantasizing or about this for years.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not. I don't mean fantasizing in a good way, but it's like eating away at them. They're living in fear constantly of.
Well, I mean, it's hard for us to understand because it's almost like by definition, a conservative or at least a reactionary mindset. But like, it is kind of like a fantasy in a fucked up way for a lot of these people. The fear they develop, they have the impulsive fear response to things, which is not even something that's inherently bad to do. As humans, we are flawed, and we are still working on hardware that was designed for us to be tribal back in the day, and we've evolved a lot past that, which is the point. That some people don't accept that or understand it, and they just go with their but this is an out group or a thing I don't understand. I've got to fucking fear and hate it forever. But then in service of that, they fucking come up with these narratives, and they come they're fed this propaganda, and it becomes almost like this inverse fantasy that they fucking hold on to. Yeah, it's gross. Like, I mean, just by sheer, it shouldn't take any thought to think about this stuff. As Mamdani pointed out, and I didn't know this specifically, but in New York, apparently there's 1 million Muslims in New York.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so why is New York not already fucking under Sharia law or whatever the fuck? Why is that? You know what I mean? And there's how many billion Muslims on the planet, and these people tend to believe that the Muslim faith, by definition, or by its the foundation of it, is violence, is about blah blah blah. And it's simply not any more than Christianity is. You know what I mean? It's definitely, there's people in these religions that will have manipulated it to mean certain things over certain points. That's what happened with the 9/11 hijackers and stuff like that. But generally they're just as peaceful and don't want any bullshit like most Christians used to be, but now Christians are kind of getting a little mutated now.
These are people who understand, at least I presume most of them understand, that Christianity, the religion with which they are the most familiar because they live in America, is a culturally, intellectually, philosophically, morally, politically diverse tradition. They understand this, but they're unwilling or unable to grant the same spectrum of thought to other religions. They think all Muslims think the same way. There's no difference between progressive and liberal Muslims from one tradition and conservative reactionary Muslims who blow up buildings. They think they're all the same. And that's
the
how
kind
you
of,
know
that's
it's based
the
on
thing they don't
prejudice.
understand. They don't understand whenever they're called racist, because they're like, oh, they might be like, no, I don't like Islam or whatever. But it's like, well, that's the underlying foundational thing is racist. If you just like look at a whole group of people that look differently than you and think that they're not capable of the same level of nuanced thought and understanding that you are, you're being a fucking racist. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard. I mean, almost certainly we'll have to talk about that this week. I'm trying to think of a good way to, I don't know if I'll just do a graphic or what. I might go all the way and do like a little intro music thing of like drinkers, defenders. I don't know. We'll see. Because these guys show up like fucking clockwork anytime somebody makes a valid. That's basically anytime EFAP responds to something, you should recognize that, oh, it must be really good criticism of critical drinker.
It's effective. Yeah, it's effective criticism that is actually either hurt the critical drinker's feelings and he told them about it, or it's actually hurting him in the algorithm. But it is conspicuous that they, to my knowledge, they've never gone after the Birdman. And I think they recognize his power level and are unwilling to fuck with him. Not to say that Eric isn't. Eric's power level is the same.
Yeah, but I mean, I hate to say it, but I'm kind of expecting some gross shit from these guys when it comes to like Eric's video.
Yeah,
we'll see.
I haven't watched it either, but I'm.
Well, so what I did do was look at the comments a little bit. I got a screenshot here, and some real choice nugs here. So these people, like, you can go into the EFAP subreddit and see them saying this kind of thing. They actually have gotten to the point where they just think media literacy is just a bullshit concept that's used to shut down criticism. That they think that, some of them, and you can see that expressed here. Basically, the terms media literacy and grift loses so much impact when these people keep using it as an insult, and it's like, it's not meant to be an insult. I'm sure it is insulting, sure, by default, but it's meant to describe what you're doing, or what you were lacking in your criticism, right? Which is media literacy. To answer this question, no, not that one. This one. I mean, there's definitely more Christians that. I mean, definitely. I mean, even if not there, if I don't know. I really can't possibly say it, but I just have to assume that there's far more Christians in the U.S. that are at least passively accepting of what's happening right now, in terms of seeing their religion being pushed to the forefront of the government and everything.
Well, just numerically, there are more white evangelical Christians in the U.S. than there are Muslims of any kind. And most people who talk about Sharia law in the West have no idea what they're talking about. And that would include me and probably everyone watching this. It's, from what I've been told by Muslims I've talked to, Sharia law isn't one thing, just like theocracy isn't. It's not like, it's like Sharia law is not saying it's the same thing as theocracy. It's like, it's like a whole school, it's a collection of various different philosophies.
The people that tend to throw it around like that and use it as a fucking weapon, they basically just apply the most obvious differences in cultures that they can see as being, that's what it is. So they're like going to force you to, wear the hijab, and they're going to, you're not going to be able to drive. Women aren't going to be able to drive, things like that. Just things that they happen to know about, like whatever country where certain laws or whatever they are. It's just, even if it was something to be worried about, which I don't believe it is, you can look at what's happening right now and recognize that it's not possible for Muslims to enact that kind of power. If it's taking all this shit that's been happening for the last decade or so on the right to just now start to be able to push Christian nationalism to the forefront, what makes them think that far fewer Muslims are going to be able to do that in a long established Christian majority country? You know what I mean? It's just, it's so absurdly beyond the pale as something to be afraid of. That, yeah.
Yeah, from what I've been told, the description I've been given is that Sharia law in Islam is kind of akin to rabbinic law in Judaism, which is to say it's not necessarily a political program in terms of establishing a state or anything like that. And the Muslims who want to impose it as a state are similar to the Christians in our society who want to establish a theocracy based on Old Testament law or something. So that's about the extent I know of it. And again, it's just comes down to these people don't know what they're talking about. And people in the West who have no direct experience with Islam have no real business trying to critique it because they don't understand what they're dealing with.
I didn't know that the Catholic League made a statement on that.
I didn't either.
Oh, God.
I am loath to ask what they said.
Well, is everybody aware of what Megyn Kelly said? I can show that again real quick just to, brush up on our fucking disgusting cringe of the weekend. Where is it? So basically, she was responding to what's been going on with Trump, and yeah. Oh, you know what? This just hit me. I wonder if that has anything to do with why EFAP would do this right now. As like I wonder if they even think about things like that, or like, we got to do some distraction from the current events. Yeah.
Nah, I don't think so. I don't think they follow it that closely.
Well, what the hell did I do with that video? Anyway, oh, wait. Here it is. Ugh.
For Epstein, I've said this before, but just as a reminder, I do know somebody very, very close to this case who is in a position to know virtually everything. Not everything, but virtually everything. And this person has told me from the start, years and years ago, that Jeffrey Epstein, in this person's view, was not a pedophile. This is this person's view, who was there for a lot of this, but that he was into the barely legal type. Like he liked 15-year-old girls. And I realize this is disgusting. I'm definitely not trying to make an excuse for this. I'm just giving you facts. That he wasn't into like 8-year-olds, but he liked the very young teen types that could pass for even younger than they were, but would look legal to a passerby. And that is what I believed, and that was what I reliably was told for many years. And it wasn't until we heard from Pam Bondi that they had tens of thousands of videos of alleged, forgive me, they used to call it kiddie porn. Now they call it child sexual abuse material on his computer.
Okay. So
that for
we didn't even get this far into it last night. And that is a whole other thing of like, what the, she's a lawyer, right? Like she's a lawyer.
Yeah. Allegedly. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it's been a long time she actually did anything lawyerly, but still, like, to just, to falsely equate the term kitty that with CSAM, which I understand CSAM specifically is a more recent, updated kind of like that's preferred and really just the only one that should be used instead of child P word, because the P word indicates consent and there's no consent involved with this. So sexual abuse material is actually far more accurately descriptive. But to just be like, oh, they used to call it kitty that, and now it's called this. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about? You mean like the colloquial kind of term that people have used for, who knows how long? Is you're equating that with the official, legal term for like.
Yeah. Well, I think what she's doing there is trying to update her boomer audience on what she's talking about, because like her demographic of people has probably never heard the phrase CSAM before, and they think of it as kiddie porn. So she's trying to update them on the lingo, I think, is what she was trying to do there.
That makes sense.
but 15 is not barely legal, Megyn Kelly. It's not even close to legal.
And she repeated it, you know?
Yeah.
Have
you seen pictures of 15-year-olds lately? What the fuck?
I mean, I have one.
They're children.
I have a 16-year-old. But yeah, they're kids. It's pretty obviously they're children to me. You know, I don't understand the it's weird. It's weird. But I will say this:
15-year-old kids are still playing with dolls and still tucking in their toys. And
I will say this: that as I mentioned last night, there is a capitalism problem here too. As far as like what I think is I don't know how big a contributor to this being a widespread problem, but it is a contributor. With, you know, if anybody that goes and looks at some porn website, you know, the most common and popular ones, you're going to see the problem, which is how many of these are just like, you know, barely legal, you know, just turned 18 or whatever. And it's like, yeah, not good. That's, you know, especially, you know, you and I, we came up of an age whenever we had woods porn, God damn it. You know, you have woods porn, Bob?
Yeah. Yes, we had woods. I remember woods porn. Yes.
Woods porn is a thing for you younger folks. That's the thing where you would just find a box of some porno magazines or something in the woods. And it's like, apparently
it was like,
experience. It's bygone time. It's not going to happen anymore, but it was a common experience among people of a certain age.
It was porn socialism. There was community porn, you know, and stashed out in the woods, and everybody knew where it was. And you could just go look at it whenever you wanted to. Yeah.
So, you know, I mean, now you've got kids that are coming up and they only know internet porn. And
and to be clear, woods porn was all made with consenting adults, at least all the stuff I ever saw.
Right. Me too. Yeah. It was all like, you know, Hustler, you know, Playboy, a few Playboys, but usually the stuff you find in the woods is not going to be the classier fare like Playboy. It's going to be the stuff that's, you know, Hustler and Penthouse and stuff like that, or Jugs or whatever. The before times were rough.
The good old days.
It was, look, it was rough, but it was also like, you know, it was a communal experience, man. If you had some friends that you, it was a rite of passage. But it's like, you know, it's like Stand By Me, how they, you know, found a dead body or whatever. It's like that, except it's porn.
Yeah. The Stranger Things days were a very magical time.
So, but nonetheless, the point I'm trying to make is that kids these days are coming up on, man, I sound old when I say that phrase. Kids these days, they're coming up on just the internet stuff, and the most popular common websites that they're almost certainly going to are flooded with that genre. And that's, you know, writing into their brains is from the moment that they basically become aware of their, you know, having sexual feelings at all, that's a normal and okay thing to way to think about it, you know? And yeah, not good, man. I did have this that I think is pretty great. It's a Hawk podcast. This guy that just basically seems to only just watch other people's videos and upload them. Nonetheless, he does watch some good stuff sometimes. And here's this video that kind of just lays out what Megyn Kelly's actually saying here. Like if you really just cut through the bullshit. It's kind of bizarre. 1 second, share screen. So might need to mute yourself for just a moment or not speak, Bob. Sorry.
Okay.
Yep. All right.
Someone who knew Epstein, and they said that they never really seen him with, you know what I'm saying, with a kid. They seen him with like teenagers, barely legal. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just saying he wasn't a pedophile. That's what they told me. See, he like the ones that you see walking down the street and you be like, damn, who that? But because you never know their age. So technically, you feel me? Like he's good. Like he's like right there. If they're 5 years old or like 4 and shit, you doing too much. You're dragging it. But if you like if they like right at 15, like right there, you're like he was good. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not the one saying it though. I'm saying I have a source. I knew somebody that knew somebody. You know what I'm saying? My cousin's uncle's daughter's son, he told me everything I need to know. So it's not as disgusting as if they were younger than 15. You know what I'm saying? Like if they was, if they were like 3, you really got to work on that. You know what I'm saying? We have yet to see anyone that was 5 or 6 come forward and say I was 5 or 6. Now, if they come forward and they say I was 15, you know what I'm saying, 14, 15, like, are we really as mad as we would be compared to if they were like 5? Not really. Knew someone who knew Epstein.
I mean, I think it's pretty well done as far as just conveying what she's actually saying there.
Yeah. And like we mentioned yesterday, she's saying this for 2 reasons. First of all, she's trying to normalize talking about pedophilia in this way, because that view of sexuality is rooted in white evangelicalism, which is Trump's base. And they start sexualizing girls when they're very young and teaching them they need to cover their shoulders because the men in their church will be tempted and so forth. And when you're a boy growing up in that culture and you're told that girls as young as 9 or 10 are tempting you, you're going to start sexualizing them. So there's a whole group of people who already sexualize young women anyway. And secondly, she's saying this because she thinks or knows that something is coming down the pike that's going to more or less definitively prove that Trump had sex with children of this age range. So they're trying to normalize it now, which I think is going to fail and blow up in their face.
What are you serious, Mike? It was what that person was just performing was a parody performance of what Megyn Kelly said, but parody in the sense that it conveyed more directly what she was saying. Yeah, at least they weren't babies, right? Yeah, I mean, no, it's this is just the beginning. Like Bob said, like I named the stream, I think I named it that. Something about like this is just the beginning. They're gonna, she was just the first one to dip her toes in the waters of trying to sanitize this.
Yeah,
it's gonna be
expect more of this. Yeah, we're gonna see like Sean Hannity start to talk like this. We're gonna see like some of the podcast bros will start talking this way if they aren't already. We're gonna see a lot of pastors and spiritual advisors to the president talking this way.
And by the way, I did a little bit of what's up. Sorry,
nothing. I was just exasperated.
I did a little bit of a looking, as in like I took maybe 20 seconds to to Google Megyn Kelly, and saw that she's actually this might be an intentional thing, because she's just kind of relaunched, I guess, her show or whatever on Sirius, and she's trying to get back in the game, right? So I don't think it's coincidence necessarily that she's been a topic that popped up in my casual observance of the breaking down of MAG over the last week or two. She's popped up twice now, and now I'm realizing it's probably on purpose. She knows what she's got to do to fucking compete in this grifter game on the right. You got to fucking say some fucked up shit. You got to especially if you've been out of the game and people don't have their eyes on you right now. You got to fucking get in there, man. You got to say something fucked up. And
yeah,
there she is.
And his base, his white evangelical base, will not turn on him over this. They will justify pedophilia. Most of them. What they won't forgive is gay stuff.
Right. Yep. I mean, on the other hand, you have people who, another tactic that they will definitely take, at least for the time being, some of them, is to essentially just ignore it. To pretend like it's just kind of like this little hiccup these Democrats are doing to Trump. So I happened upon the a page for Chris Rufo and whoever his co-host is of their new podcast that they've just started. And I'm not going to listen to the podcast, but you can read like the intro, the first little exchanges of dialogue of it on their website and before the paywall. And why the fuck would you pay to read this shit? But yeah, the first little bit is indicative of what they're doing, because they're basically just kind of, like, oh yeah, that's whatever. Meanwhile, they're talking about Candace Owens being introducing schizoid politics to things, and that she's doing chaos or whatever. And it's like, for anybody that's not aware of Chris Rufo is, Morgan and I covered him a couple of times. In particular, we covered him as the real life equivalent to the House of X era, like the Krakoan era of X-Men. What's his name? Dr. Stasis. So he's essentially the real life Dr. Stasis, who is a propagandist who hates mutants, and he's just outwardly, openly, in some cases, just, I'm a propagandist and I want to get rid of all these mutants, And Chris Rufo is somebody who, at a couple of different points, has openly said that, like, he's the guy responsible for, what was it? Was it CRT or DEI? Which one was it that he was like got people to pay attention to?
CRT.
Yeah, CRT, and then also was it bathrooms or something like that? The trans bathroom issue, or no groomers. Maybe. It was just straight up groomers. He said openly, almost verbatim, I could find the quote, that he wanted to make conservatives connect the idea of trans queer people with being child groomers in their minds. So like, he's ground zero, patient zero for that bullshit, and he did it on purpose. And he wants to talk about somebody else introducing chaos into political discourse. It's like, these people are fucking evil,
what
man.
I'm genuinely curious what kind of content guys like D-Day Cobra and the rest of the Chud Sphere are going to make about this.
Ooh.
I have no idea. I don't know what to predict, but I would be genuinely curious to see how they cope with it.
Well, I mean, there is one way to find out, potentially.
There is. It just occurred to me now. That thought just now entered my head, so I haven't looked. Oh my God, another podcast. Yeah. I read a stat recently. I don't know if this is true. It might have just been a parody, but I read a stat that there are more podcasts in existence than there are podcast listeners.
That's crazy. Oh. Okay, yep. Well, what is this? Oh my God, what is he doing? So prepare to, kind of not know what the fuck we're looking at. We're going to have to figure some of this out. We're going to have to parse it together.
Okay.
We can do it.
Okay.
Okay. I'm going to share the screen, but not the audio. So hopefully you won't echo right now. Okay. So D-Day Cobra. And right now he's live. MAGA civil war in quotes over Epstein files. And it's got this meme. It's got Trump is walking away, and then who is looking at him? Who is that?
Let me see if I can tell.
I think that's Marjorie Taylor Greene, maybe over there on in the woman's role there.
Yeah, I'm not sure who the guy is. I've seen an AI version of this meme with the guy looking back being Trump, the woman being Melania, and the person walking towards us being Bill Clinton.
Yeah.
But I don't know I can't tell who that guy in the screen is.
And I just want to point out that I just noticed this. Get your G&G merch here, ripascend.com. So there you using Ripascend. I guess I can click on it and we can just kind of see what he's saying.
I hear nothing.
I know. So I don't want to subject anybody to it if I don't have to. Why does is he selling hats that say idiot? I mean, good on him for having some sense of self-awareness, I guess, but
it says IDOT.
Oh, that's true. You're right. Maybe I'm an idiot. But look, he's wearing a MAGA shirt, MAGA sweater. So, I mean, wow, man, bold of you, Jeremy Griggs, to take the pro-pedophilia position.
Yeah.
Bold. I wonder if we just sat here and watched chat. I said sometimes I do this kind of thing. If we just sat here and watched the chat, I wonder how long it would take to see something like extremely fucked up. You know?
It looks like he's hawking some merch right now.
Oh yeah, of course. Oh, of course. I mean, what he was doing whenever I clicked on it before I muted it was he was talking about watching the Taylor Sheridan shows. He was talking about he watched Landman and whatever else.
Okay.
I don't know. Yeah, there's a good chance that the topic of the stream here is not even something that he spends much time on.
Of course
You know
not.
what I mean?
No, just
Like,
got to get them clicks.
Yeah. It's all, this is all just like, because the point of their content, even whenever it's this, even if it's directly political. So, you know, as I've pointed out in my content for years now, the big part of the reason for their making the content they make as far as fandom content is to distract people from what's actually happening in you know, political realm. And it's to take people that are disaffected or you know, don't feel comfortable engaging in politics or learning new things or anything, and to go, no, yeah, you're great. You don't pay attention to that. That's a bunch of stupid bullshit. Those Democrats are crazy. Just sit here and fucking numb your mind with the garbage I'm fucking feeding you. You know what I mean? And that's still, I'm certain, what he's doing here. It's not like he's having enlightened political discourse on his fucking podcast.
Oh, he's playing the podcast, the press conference from the victims, though.
Oh, well. I guess we could listen to see what happens, man, because, yeah, I'm kind of interested. Let's see.
I will mute myself.
So, through all of this and these women that are, you know, saying these things, this part really did raise a lot of eyebrows. A lot of people heard this part, and they're like, really now? That's an interesting thought. I don't know the exact timestamp, but let's listen to this really quick.
For pity. We are here demanding accountability, and I'm demanding justice. Congress must choose. Will you continue to protect predators, or will you finally protect survivors? And also, I would like to announce here today, us Epstein survivors have been discussing creating our own list.
Ooh.
We know the names.
Ooh.
Many of us were abused by them. Now, together as survivors, we will confidentially compile the names we all know. Transparency alone is
Interesting. So that was September 3rd. September 3rd, ladies and gentlemen. Where's your secret list that you're gonna put together? Why?
I'm actually kind of fucking having a violent impulse right now, man.
Me
this
too.
is the most vile motherfucker. Like, this is absolutely fucking depraved. And God damn it.
He's edging up to the line of calling them liars. That's what he's doing.
I mean, I'm sure if we listen more, he probably just will. But I mean, the implication behind all this is like, he's, you know, not believing. He's just kind of, everything they're saying is with a side eye. And why is that? Is it because he doesn't want to believe that Jeffrey Epstein did this shit? No, it's because he's in a fucking cult, and Donald Trump is his fucking cult leader, and he knows where this road leads. It's obvious to anybody with half a brain, and he's not necessarily a stupid guy, Jeremy. He's definitely brainwashed and fucking, you know, brain-addled at this point from MAGA, you know, memes and bullshit, and just grifting for so long. But like, he recognizes that there's a pretty clear end result of this road if it's continued to be traveled down. And he doesn't like it. He can't fucking stand it. So he's doing what I guess a lot of these people are going to be doing, and running early defense, which, you know, it's one thing to do it whenever it's, you know, if they were directly saying it was Trump, they're putting his name out there already, but he's getting ahead of it, which looks even worse somehow. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, he's preemptively fucking just like, oh, I know what they're gonna end up saying. So, you know, where's your secret list? Yeah, fucking, what a fucking absolute garbage person. Like, obviously, I've known that for a long time. We've all known that, but this is kind of next level to me, man. Like, this is wow. What fucking
and
useless piece of
you know,
shit.
I just want to say that's some pretty slick PDF file Defender merch you got on there, Jeremy.
Yeah. We all know what "Make America Great Again" means now. You know, it was always kind of like up in the air. Like, what do they mean by that? What era are they talking about? Well, there wasn't an era. It was just the ability to do whatever you want as a you know, cis straight white man Christian in the country and get away with it and never be held accountable for it, up to and including, raping children. That's what Make America Great Again means.
Look, he just wants to bring back healthy, straight male sexuality and stop demonizing masculinity as toxic. That's what he wants to do. He's not trying to defend child sex exploitation, not at all. It's just men can't help it. This is just the way men are. And we should allow men to be men.
Wait, are you not echoing? Are you not?
I don't hear myself echoing. No.
I have not muted the screen share.
Interesting.
Cool.
Well,
then in that case, let's I'm going to see how much longer I can stand to listen before I'm just like, okay, it's going to ruin my night if I keep listening to this motherfucker at a certain point.
What are you waiting for? There are literally more victims every day potentially out there that you don't release this list. Where's it at?
What?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Did he just put quotes on more victims? Like, he's so fucking deep in the sauce that it's hard to even tell what position is he actually taking, because it seems there just like he's saying, yeah, of course there's victims, but like I'm guessing what he's trying to maneuver himself to be in the position of, sure, there's probably, Epstein did some stuff. We all know that, but they're plants that are intentionally being manipulated to implicate Donald Trump as part of it. Is that what he's thinking or saying? And that's what he's trying to be. That's what he's being defensive about, I guess.
It sure sounds that way to me. Like,
I mean, I guess we're just supposed to just wait and whatever.
Yes, man, you're supposed to just wait. Victims are not at your fucking beck and call and to do things at your fucking leisure. They're the point of, see, this is, he's like, you said you're gonna do this. When you do it, like, as soon as you can, as soon as possible. You don't just fucking leave us hanging on this kind of thing. Do it on my fucking schedule because I'm fucking Jeremy Griggs. Like, I don't know, man. It's fucking disgusting.
The survivors just put out a PSA today.
Yeah.
Calling on people to contact their representatives in Congress and demand a yes vote on the petition to release the files. So they're doing shit, and they can't say these names out loud because they're talking about like billionaires, right? Who could, at the very least, sue them into oblivion.
But if you were to say that to him, he would then respond with that, the typical, just like cynical, like, oh yeah, like that's gonna happen. Like that's essentially his position on everything.
His position would be, what the billionaires are innocent until proven guilty, right?
Yeah.
So the strategy I heard them talking about, though, and this was Marjorie Taylor Greene of all people saying this, was to provide a list of who they're accusing of doing this to them to a member of Congress to read those names into the congressional record, because by law, things you read into congressional record are things you cannot be sued for defamation and shit and stuff like that. So having a member of Congress read the names during the government's been shut down for the last 6 weeks or so. So
yeah. So what was he said? This was the beginning of August, September, something like that.
Yeah. September.
I mean, and also, just they're almost certainly going to be doing this in coordination with, the government officials who are trying to get these files released and see justice. So like, they're not going to do it at a time that wouldn't be, optimally beneficial for the whole goal. Right. And yeah, it's, I mean, also, if he doesn't even have a position, it seems like, because if he's saying, they're suggesting that they're gonna just name Trump, because they've been told to, or whatever the fuck, they got some agenda. If that's what he's thinking, which I'm thinking must be where he's trying to go with it. Why would I don't know, man.
One of them basically did name Trump indirectly at this very press conference.
Is that right?
Yeah, one of them said, I forget which survivor it was, but she said that whenever she was with Epstein, one of his biggest brags that he held over people was he had a picture of Trump on his desk, and he would always brag to them about how powerful Trump was and what good friends they were, et cetera, all with the implication being of, hey, don't fuck with me because I got your boy in the White House he wasn't in the White House at the time, but I got like this other powerful billionaire who's already known for destroying people in court on my side. Right. She said Trump was one of his biggest brags. So that's kind of getting into the neighborhood of accusing him of something. But I think what's going to turn out is that Trump was a lot more at the center of this than Epstein was. And that's why nobody talked about him. I think it's a distinct possibility it's going to turn out that Epstein was doing Trump's bidding and not the other way around.
I mean, maybe it could be that.
Trump owned that modeling agency, and there's a bunch of disgusting stuff in Trump's background involving plenty of things that would provide him with plenty of opportunities to be trafficking women and girls independently of Epstein before Epstein came along. And Ghislaine Maxwell and Trump have known each other longer than Maxwell and Epstein knew each other. So there's smoke there.
Yeah. So here is, I got a couple of clips relevant to this.
Hanging out with a convicted or a pedophile, and I discover that pedophile has stolen my little sister, and then there's a powerful businessman that's making comments about me being my sister's age, then I think that the FBI needs to take a good look at it.
Back with me is Maria Farmer and her lawyer, Jennifer Freeman. Maria was one of the first women to accuse convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein and his accomplice, Ghislaine Maxwell, of sexual assault. And she has described an alleged encounter with Donald Trump back in 1995 as unsettling. Thanks again for being here with all of us. Before the break, we were just talking about that meeting, and you responded to a White House comment on it. But I wanted to ask you more personally. I mean, you described that meeting. You heard Donald Trump, or you heard Jeffrey Epstein say to Donald Trump, she's not for you. What was your reaction to that? What was going on in your head at the time about that? What did you think that meant?
Right. Well, I already felt kind of intimidated because it was in a dark office and I was alone with my new boss, to be, and this man that's a powerful businessman. And so I felt intimidated, but that's not why I reported him. I reported him because when Epstein came out of the office, I was making a face at him because I felt threatened. And so I went, and he kind of laughed and backed off. And as that was happening, Epstein walked out and said, oh, no, she's not here for you. And he emphasized, she's not here for you. And he said, come with me. And he escorted him into another office. And I was like, who's in there? And when he said, oh, I thought she was 16, I thought, is there a 16-year-old in there? Right? So what people need to understand is I'm not some crazy person who just reports people if they look at my legs or I'm in an office with them. But when someone is hanging out with a convicted or a pedophile, and I discover that pedophile has stolen my little sister, and then there's a powerful businessman that's making comments about me being my sister's age, then I think that the FBI needs to take a good look at it. And so that's why I asked that they do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just want to remind everybody, and maybe this will come back around now, but in 2015 and 2016, Trump was being sued by a woman going under the name of Katie Johnson. That was not her real name. Who alleged that Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein essayed her together when she was 13 years old at a party.
And she described it, under oath with some detail.
Yeah, and she gave a deposition and everything, and she was about to give a press conference. Like the press was there at the hotel her lawyer was waiting for her to come out, and then they announced that she decided not to go forward with it because she was receiving death threats. So maybe we'll hear from that person again. Hopefully.
This morning, the House is poised to move forward on a vote that would release files related to the sex trafficking investigation into Jeffrey Epstein. It comes after months of resistance from Republican leaders and the White House. President Trump not responding to ABC's questions about the files during an event last night.
Mr. President, why won't you order the FBI to release the Epstein files?
It comes as thousands of newly released documents were made public by the House Oversight Committee, which includes Trump's name coming up repeatedly in Epstein's messages. In a 2017 email to former Treasury Secretary Larry Summers, Epstein writing, quote, "I have met some very bad people, none as bad as Trump, not one decent cell in his body. So yes, danger."
Imagine that. Jeffrey Epstein thinks you're the worst person he's ever met. I mean, obviously his gauge is a little off because he probably thought he was just a fine fellow, but still, he felt all of Trump's many character flaws and just foundational human flaws. Yeah, they were just irredeemable apparently. This seemed like they had a weird relationship. You know, they were like friends, but it's like, is that what it's like whenever two people are rich, powerful, and also like just human shit people? You know what I mean? Like
purely transactional, narcissistic relationships. Yeah,
they recognize each other as being terrible people, but they're also friends. But they're also going to backstab each other and talk about, you know, how to get something out of the other.
Yeah.
It's fucking crazy.
Game recognizes game, you know.
I guess.
And but yeah, like a pedophile, the most notorious pedophile in the world, thinks Donald Trump is a terrible human being, and I don't know if we should go by Epstein's moral compass or not, but I don't know, and I don't know how far that news segment goes. But the stuff said about him. And,
so I remember there was an anecdote, and this is what. So this is the thing. There's been a couple of different stories as to why they stopped being friends. The one I initially had read about a few years ago was that it had nothing to do with any of this stuff. It had to do with there was a property that Epstein wanted, and it was like something personal that he wanted to buy or whatever, and Trump knew that, and Trump bought it for himself, some shit like that.
Yeah.
And that basically
that's the one I heard too. Yeah.
So like if he thought those things about Trump, it was probably because he did something to him specifically, not because he recognized him being a piece of shit to other people or whatever. It's just like once he did something to him, it was like, oh, this fucking guy is the most vile motherfucker ever.
Well, what I thought was telling in that quote from Epstein was he described him as dangerous. And I think that's what he means more than anything else. Like Epstein, I read that as Epstein saying, look, I may be a PDF file, but I'm not a murderer.
Wow. That's we went through the M word.
That's the implication of what he's saying. Like that Trump isn't just involved in all this CSAM and trafficking stuff, that he's more dangerous than that. That's what I read Epstein is saying.
So I just want to say, by the way, like real quick, back to Jeremy Griggs. Just this guy cannot be a happy individual, right? Like, look at what he's doing with his time. Sure, he's making money, I guess. But look what he's doing. Like, it has to.
I hope that he's experiencing cognitive dissonance and existential crisis over this. I really hope he's suffering because of this.
Well, his hair's gotten kind of long. I don't know. Maybe he's going to transition or something. Who knows?
Yeah, this is the chickens coming home to roost and bringing the face-eating leopards with them. And I really hope it is causing Jeremy Griggs mental anguish to realize that he helped make this happen.
Do you think he seems offended here in the stream? Maybe a little bit offended with these women?
Yeah, he did a little bit.
Which is surprising because
I don't get offended by shit.
Had to.
Now see that echoed.
Mm-hmm.
That's weird. We're not echoing, but that clip you just played echoed at my end.
Yeah, it does that.
Whatever.
I don't know. Whatever. Fuck them. Yeah.
But
So I
this is-
mean, when I was saying that Megyn Kelly and I had her in the thumbnail and everything, I was like, this is just the beginning of this. I wasn't honestly expecting to see another one tonight. But here we are. Where it's a different tactic. He's not trying to downplay yet, but honestly, I would not be surprised, and he probably will get there eventually if it goes that way. You know what I mean? Where he's actually going to end up equivocating, or distinguishing. Well, it's not the same thing as blah blah blah.
We should check back next week or after the end of his stream and see what he actually said. Because I'm sure he's going to put out clips or something.
And as you know, and many people know, I addressed that back in 2021. And of course, I never want to cause any harm or anything bad for anyone. So that was addressed back then. And I very much stand by my words I said then, and I stand by my words today. I think America needs to come together and end all the toxic, dangerous rhetoric and divide. And I'm leading the way with my own example. And I hope that President Trump can do the same.
So, of course, here you have that. Okay, so there she is on CNN telling you, how terrible she is and the Republicans, and making apologies for, whatever she's supposedly apologizing for. And right on cue, and this is very much expected, but it's right on cue. But she now is claiming, which is this is the prototypical leftist behavior. She is claiming harassment and death threats.
She's claiming
call Marjorie Taylor Greene a leftist?
Yes, he did. He said these are leftist tactics to claim harassment and death threats, because no one ever really does that, right?
Right. Nobody ever does. It's never happened. It's never happened to the point where whenever they were, there was a campaign that was actually pretty positioned pretty well to finally call attention to YouTube on these people and what they've done in terms of like Star Wars fandom and Star Wars actors and stuff like that, that they were so desperate to avoid being accountable for that they successfully pivoted the narrative to where it really wasn't about them at all, and it ended up being about Star Wars theory versus Star Wars explained. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah,
that was not what it was about. It's honestly kind of impressive and that they pull that off, but that's what happened. They managed to do it where it was they for once didn't want to be the fucking on the spotlight, and they just basically put Star Wars theory out there in front and was like, no, it's all about him. And then these are the people that did it, and that's just successfully did exactly what he's saying doesn't happen, and got Star Wars Explained targeted for shit that they shouldn't have been, and a whole fucking subgenre of hate content about those content creators propped up and probably still going on. Yeah, these people are fucking evil, man. This motherfucker is insidious. It's actually fucking really, really insidious how they operate.
I want to encourage Jeremy here to keep leaning into the CSAM defense and keep leaning into defending and enabling PDF files. Keep it up, buddy. Let's see how that does for your algorithm performance. Let's see how that gets your numbers up.
Yeah, well, I mean, also, these guys, they have done content about people threatening them or whatever, and who knows if they were making that up or not, but they've also done this quote-unquote leftist tactic of, people wanting to come out. I remember specifically somebody said something about Nerdrotic or something, or some tweet, I don't know, some random thing that somebody said about him dying or some shit, and they were like, oh, fucking made a bunch of videos about it, like, oh, they're targeting him. It's like, you motherfuckers are so fucking cynical, and it's not even hypocritical, because hypocritical would mean that they're doing it without realizing it, and they're doing it, they know what they're doing. It's just straight up cynical fucking evil shit. All right. Wow, man. Yeah, but you're right. We're gonna check back in on this shit. Remind me if next week, if I somehow forget or whatever, that we need to see what's going on with Griggs, because he is. And to answer this comment here a minute ago, that you said it's weird that Jeremy claims to not be Republican, but he is MAGA. It's not weird. It's actually pretty self-aware of him to say that, I think, because he's saying he doesn't have the values of a Republican. He is just in a cult of Donald Trump.
Yeah, most MAGA people say this.
You know, and this is kind of born of that idea that being actively engaged with the political system as has been established is actually lame and not cool, and you're just following the herd. But if you glom onto a specific guy that is also a Republican and he does he appeals to Republican bullshit and stuff, it's like, but you're not a Republican. It's all just shit that they fucking tell themselves to avoid cognitive dissonance, to be able to operate against the thing they said yesterday, because today it's beneficial to them to do that. It's I don't know cult brain is really what it is. It's just cult brain. And this is, like I said last night, happens when you have no developed sense of fucking you have no self-awareness, you have no developed sense of morality or emotional regulation. These people are all very emotionally stunted. Several of them I'm sure would qualify as having narcissistic behavioral issues. Yeah. And that's what you end up seeing from the outside looking in is it just looks like evil to me. I'm realizing.
Remember that debate?
Yeah.
The debate he had with Eric July about Trump, and how all he was able to say about Trump was he talked about him like he was Jesus. Like Trump suffered for us. Trump did all this stuff for us, that he took on all these burdens for us, and he had no political argument at all. It was all just, I worship Trump, why don't you?
I want to bring up a clip from the debate that I had with a supporter of his who challenged me to a debate a couple of years ago, and something that came up in the midst of that, right at the beginning, really, and I didn't even fully grasp everything that suggested this exchange until a couple of years later, basically. And I was like, oh wait, that's fucking wild. Hold on one second. No, that's not it. So, and anyway, this guy's name was T-Rev, and he has made a video game apparently about Geeks and Gamers. That's how big a fan he was. But he's also somebody who was in their community on a high enough level, basically, that he's friendly. They were friends, more or less. So he had some personal stake, it seemed like, in wanting to defend Jeremy Gregg's honor whenever I had made content saying, this might have been the first time that I just came out and said, these people are like white nationalists. You know what I mean? They're pushing a fucking far-right radical extremist agenda, and they're doing that under the guise of being Star Wars fans, whatever, and that was what set this guy wanting to talk to me about it. And he was a nice guy. It was honestly really kind of an enjoyable debate experience. I know most of them aren't like that, but it was, he went out of his way to be very friendly, and I think he was trying to make sure that he was not anything like what he felt I suspected those people are. But yeah, it's
yeah.
Give me a minute.
Go ahead and play the clip. I have to step away for a minute, but I am still listening.
Okay. Well, I'm going to play some other clip while I look for this one. Here's this.
We're going to need a vision for the future where humanity succeeds as a species. That is not going to come from a delusion of national purity, this recent obsession among Europeans, and a con game as old as time, blaming the outsider for the crimes of elites. The modern version of this shell game began with the dirty 11 countries whose elites carved up most of the planet in the last couple hundred years, and whose colonial bootprint is the modern map of the world. It happened when one of the first international corporations ever, the Virginia Company of London, claimed all land rights north of Spanish Florida. And when Africans who'd been enslaved for life and European debt slaves briefly united in revolt, Europeans panicked and created this new caste system in law, inventing whiteness, condemning Africans and indigenous people to subhuman status so that the people would remain divided and conquered. And they ran with that for the next 200 years. European intellectuals called that science. racial anthropology, eugenics, which escalated to the point where the king of Belgium killed 10 million people so he could extract rubber and ivory to increase his own personal wealth. Before then, for millennia, human beings in cities lived in these multi-ethnic, multilingual, multi-religious empires. But when elites reimagined identity around blood and language, they saw this new opportunity, the nation state. But this is a totally made-up idea. I mean, at the height of the French Revolution, fewer than 15% of the people in that region spoke French. Just like every other place on earth, it was diverse. Napoleon spoke Corsican, which is closer to Italian. I mean, France, Germany, Italy, America, these were concepts that were made up. In Palestine, 95% of the population had been majority Christian and Muslim for 1,200 years until Theodor Herzl, a guy from Vienna, invents a nation called Israel based on the same imaginary differences of blood and language. Hitler followed the same playbook. He was drawing heavily from laws in the United States, legalized apartheid that lasted until the 1960s. National purity is not ancient, it's recent, and it is experiencing a revival all over Europe due to collapsing living standards. And it's the same old con game blaming the outsider for the crimes of the elites. It is a con that is primitive, however, and it has long been obsolete.
So I found that clip. It's here. This is the moment I was talking about. This is right at the beginning of the discussion too, because he had introduced himself, and yeah, you'll see.
I think you have a really great YouTube channel. The production quality is really good, even though I really don't agree with a whole lot that you say. Congratulations on 5K subs. That's exciting. I want to clarify, when I say that I'm part of the fandom menace, I basically just kind of saw that as the best way to describe like the conglomerate of YouTube channels basically that appear on Friday Night Tights, like Geeks and Gamers, Nerdrotic, Young Ripa, Heel versus Babyface, because technically Jeremy has disavowed the Geeks and Gamers. Jeremy has disavowed the fandom menace publicly. So I understand like there's that controversy there, but I still just thought is like the best way to describe, the overall group of YouTube channels. And now I am technically a member of the Geeks and Gamers team, but my opinions are my own. I do not claim to come here and represent like the official opinion of Geeks and Gamers or represent anybody else's opinion or anything like that.
Just you mentioned something I kind of threw me off, is like Jeremy has disavowed the fandom menace, but he's still in the same circle of people, right? They're still all on Friday Night Tights together. He's still saying the same stuff about Star Wars and Marvel and everything that the fandom menace like. So what is really the practical purpose of disavowing the fandom menace if like nothing is actually changing about what he's doing?
Oh, the reason that he gives is that apparently he saw too much like extremism within like the fandom menace among like things that fans were saying, and he didn't want to be like held responsible for any of that. He said, I'll be responsible for Geeks and Gamers, but not that. And so I guess he maybe saw it as too much to keep up with, something like that.
So the thing that as I say here in a second, when I unpause it, the thing that caught me about it in that moment was just the weirdness of being like disavowing something and not changing anything about your associations or whatever. It's about like I'm part of the Crips gang, but I'm not a Crip anymore, but I'm still hanging out with all the guys that I used to do Crip shit with, or whatever, you know what I mean? That kind of thing.
I'm only one of the 10 people seated at this table with one Nazi. I'm not one of the 11 Nazis. I'm just saying.
What the fandom menace was it was as he described, a loose conglomerate of many more channels years ago. There's a lot more of them a few years ago. There's far fewer now, but like they recognized that they were too easy to identify and to group into easily categorized group of anti-fans. That's what they were. That's what they remained to be. But by not using the fandom menace thing anymore, which had grew pretty toxic in the same way that Comicsgate did, as just a term. Like if you were on the internet and involved in these spaces enough at all, you knew what this term was, and you were either cool with it and part of it, or you recognized it as being like essentially a hate group, full of toxic fans and shit. And that's what they made some smart choices there. recognize the optics of that is not good. And if they wanted to continue to be able to do their grift and their hate grift, then they're going to have to, be less easily identifiable as being this group. Then it became, they had, Friday Night Tights was the show. And then there's the Fellowship, they kind of will call themselves, that kind of thing. But generally they don't, I think they recognized it was not a good idea to have one banner to be under. So that's really all that changed, was that they wanted to, be less accountable. And that's the thing that stuck out to me a couple of years after this. Basically, I was going through and editing something, a compilation. I was like, holy shit, it clicked. I was like, he acknowledged that he developed a group of fucking extremists. He's, that's at least as far as T-Rev says here. I haven't seen Jeremy say that himself, but I mean, he's saying that Jeremy said it, that his reason he gave is that he recognized there was too much extremism going on in the Fandom Menace group, like in the audience. So he essentially admitted that he had been part of or led part of a leader of this group of extremists and developed a culture of extremism. And then, as if that wasn't already shitbag behavior enough, he decided, oh, I don't want to be responsible for this. I'm cutting ties with, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. And then he didn't cut ties. Like, that's
right.
That's the thing. All he said, he just spoke the magic words, "I disavow," and he thought that was enough. He didn't change his behavior.
It's like Kevin McGinnis and Proud Boys, right? Like, no, I'm not part of Proud Boys. Right? Yeah, okay, sure. They're still the Phantom Menace chuds, and thankfully, most people have done a good job of not letting them go on that.
And they really need to keep the name "The Fellowship" out of their mouths.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I guess I kind of see that. I don't know. I'm more of the mind that if I was part of something that I was like suddenly like, wow, this is getting kind of more hostile and harmful than I really care for, rather than just go, I don't claim this label anymore. I would completely disconnect from the people that are associated with that label, because otherwise it would just seem kind of hollow to me. But that's just me.
Man, I was much more reserved with my takes back then.
Yes, but that was still a kill shot, though.
Yeah. I mean, these people have done this to me. They've made me, and this is honestly, I'm more comfortable being more myself. That was me having to mindfully like stay buttoned up, Dan. You don't want to come off as too aggressive or say that, anything that, blah, blah. And it's like, now I just literally don't give a fuck.
Right. And nor should you, because it's now clear we are dealing with PDF enablers. So fuck them.
Well, wherever T-Rev is, hopefully he's not one of them. Hopefully he's not still on board with Jeremy Griggs like he was here, because man, T-Rev, you're if so, you're doing pro pedo shit, bro. Because that's what
He
Jeremy
looks
Griggs.
young. He looks young. He has time to grow out of it. I hope he became a better person as a result of this interaction.
I mean, honestly, like he like we exchanged a couple of emails after, and it was like that was another part of it that was like, man, the whole experience was generally positive for me. It was my second debate ever. The first one I was in was kind of impromptu, happened suddenly, and I wasn't planning on it. This is the first one that I ever planned. He sent me an email, asked like, was there anything that you noticed in my performance that was there anything you think I could do better if I talked to somebody else or whatever? I was like, this very cordial, wanting to get my feedback on how he did and shit. And
it's
and
interesting.
I was like, I don't know, man. I'm not like a big debate bro. He's like, oh, I thought you debated a bunch. And I was like, literally, this is my second one. And he was like, oh wow. He's like, you're kind of a natural. I'm like, oh, okay.
Way to hide your power level, Dane.
Well, I mean, honestly, going back, people have been watching me long enough to know that like when I started, I was like, man, I wish that I could debate, but I don't think I have it in me to do that without like kind of losing my shits on some of these people. And that would essentially be seen as losing for me. And so I just had kind of written off debating as something that I would be able to do. And then through, just course of actions, the first one happened just very much in the moment, which was also with a Geeks and Gamers guy who writes for the website, I guess, or still does, I don't know. But Lyndon, forget what his fucking stupid name was. But he had said some shit about the Eternals movie, and then whenever Gail Simone had like said something, I don't know, he retweeted him and kind of dunked on him or whatever, and he made an article about that where he was shitting on Gail Simone and shitting on the deaf character in Eternals and stuff like that. And I was just like, what a piece of shit. And I was talking about it on live stream, like looking at his article and looking at what he's saying. And then he showed up in chat. And I was like, you know what, dude, you want to fucking come on? Let's talk about this right now. I don't know if you've ever seen any clips of that, but it's
I
pretty
have,
funny.
yeah.
That was where he's like, and he brought this up too. He goes, you may think that we all have to share the same exact opinions, but no, because some people, geeks gamers, they like Zack Snyder and some people don't. And I was like, that's interesting that you bring up Zack Snyder in regards to geeks and gamers, because there's a bit of an elephant in the room there, isn't there? That was when I, brought up the infamous moment of Zack Snyder, denouncing geeks and gamers on their own fucking live stream. That was a kill shot. And then, and then his response to that was basically like, yeah, but Warner Brothers made him say that. And I'm like, I didn't think to say it then, but I was like, wait, because I forgot exactly what the statement was that he had made, really. But if you think about what Zack Snyder said in context of denouncing geeks and gamers, so I was like, wait, Warner Brothers told him to cry about his Asian daughters? You know what I mean? Because that's what he did. He essentially kind of almost came to tears talking about his Asian daughters, and it was a recent spa shoot. It was in the context of all this, and then okay, Warner Brothers had him do that. Then interesting, right? Like,
so I want to ask Grand Theft Autobot in chat they said they found out what IDOT means. What does it mean? I'm curious. If you're still with us, please let us know. Because that was what was on one of the shirts that Griggs was hawking for.
Does it mean I diddle older toddlers? Is that what Griggs is saying? Is that what he's doing?
Because I just thought this is going to gross people out, but I just thought that MAGA could mean make adolescents gag again.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Yeah. So Grand Theft Autobot, if you're with us, let us know what IDOT means, because it sounds like something terrible. But generally, it's back to what you were talking about.
For sure. If it's not terrible, it's stupid.
But back to what you were discussing before, it's interesting how all of them seem to be aware of the negative and toxic nature of what they're doing and saying, and don't want to be held accountable for any of it, but they keep doing it anyway.
I was close by saying I diddled older toddlers. It's close to that.
Now you have to tell us what it means. Stop teasing us. We're not saying anything else until you tell us what it means.
Yep. We're just gonna sit here. Grand Theft Autobot. It's on you, man. Stream's on you. Oh, people are leaving. They're leaving.
Oh, it's on you, Grand Theft Autobot.
Dropping like flies. I'm just kidding. I had another person show up since then. So, man.
All right. Well, it looks like they're not going to follow through for us.
That sucks.
Very disappointed in you, Grand Theft Autobot.
Illinois Department of Transportation. I mean, it could be something as stupid as that, because the whole 199 thing. Whenever I looked into that, he's right there on his microphone. Oh, it's not on screen. But hail the 199 on his microphone there. When I finally figured out what that was, it's just a thing that came up randomly it's kind of like the 6-7 meme. It doesn't mean anything really. It's just something I think that came up in some live stream that they laughed about for some reason, and Griggs, being the fucking grifter that he is, seized on that as being an identifiable thing that I can then make merch out of.
Mm-hmm.
I'm typing as fast as I can. Sorry, dude.
Type faster, damn you.
Sorry.
Nice dinosaurs on tricycles.
Sorry for the pressure.
We're just going to make up our own meanings until Grand Theft Autobot gives us the real one.
Yeah. I do offer I don't know. I should have thought of the T word before I started. I guess I can just look it up myself, you know. So it was born on July 18th during Geeks and Gamers Daily Show. Another example, just like the 199, where it's a thing that came up, it seems like, and like, oh, I can monetize this. It's the official Geeks and Gamers mascot who, much like the 199, was born of a meme, and then immediately seized upon as something to make merch off of and make money. Still trying to. Okay, go ahead. I got a 50. Hold on, don't. I got a 53-second video here of them explaining the origin. So,
chat, Jay,
check this out.
Let's go ahead and take a moment real quick. I know we need to read super chats, but let's just take a moment to make fun of this person. Create channel says, say yes to Joe. IDots. Trying to call us in the chat idiots and misspells idiots. IDots. Listen here, motherfucker.
Okay, so it's pretty stupid. And yeah, it's just a cynical thing that they seized on that you know, that everybody came together and laughed at the person who almost certainly didn't misspell it, but just simply mistyped it. But
Yeah.
it would only, you know, only an IDOT would fucking think that's the same thing.
And that's what Grand Theft Auto Bot shared in chat at about the same time. Much less impressive than I expected it to be.
Yeah, well, I mean, you
hoping for
notice
something like
the only thing that they can come together on, at least in this context, I forget what spawned the 199 thing, but like it's them. It's a political thing. It is about shitting on somebody else that is the out group, their political out group, and that's the thing that they all, you know, rally around, because that's all it is. It's all the content is. The best of Ryan Kinnell, is that even a real thing that's possible? How's that? Fucking looks like an Amish man there. It's crazy. Anyway, but also
Enjoy the negative. I'm out.
I am going to be going soon here. I got to get off of here and get my son ready for the week of school ahead.
Okay.
Yeah. It's already been 2 hours. It's crazy. Did not it just kind of flew by, you know?
Yeah, it was a great chat. Good memes.
It is good. Yeah. I wish that the memes weren't so like morally depraved these days, man, but that's what Jeremy Griggs is. Just morally fucking absolutely void of morality and decent, you know, humanity.
Yeah, I will say I'm both unsurprised and a little bit disappointed to see Jeremy Griggs going that direction. That's where I suspected he was going to go.
Yeah.
But I was a little tiny sliver of me was hoping that he would go the other way and stand with the survivors. But nah.
Why would he do that?
Why? Why would he? Yeah. I just want to know what he thinks about the photos of Trump blowing Bubba. I wonder if he's aware of that and what he thinks about that.
I don't think,
because that is what he'll hate more than anything else.
They're probably just not even going to engage with that. You know what I mean? For the most part, like,
yeah, because that is what will lose the white evangelical base of MAGA. They're okay with ephebophilia between men and girls, but gay stuff, that's hell-worthy right there.
Just a quick look back at my content on Geeks and Gamers here. To my channel and just typed in. See what we get here. We've got there's the short that I made of that T-Rev. Oh, I'm not showing it on stream. Sorry. Here we go. Yeah, there's the short. There's where Pillar of Garbage was on. Man, that was a year ago. Holy shit! It was like I think it was Pillar, Edgier Than Thou, and Eric Debunks all on late at night. Just a random late night, congregation. That was cool. Talked about these guys, and then this one was 9 months ago. Wow, where I looked through his Instagram backwards, and you can see him just.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Radicalized, and then 6 months ago, this is where he was doing the black fatigue thing.
Oh God.
And then here's where someone in their one of the mods or the mod of I guess their community was found to be had groomed some underage person. Yep. And then back all the way back to Prey.
Good times.
Wow. 3 years ago, I commented on how Jeremy Gregg's channel was trending downward. Look at that. Turns out Brie Larson could not save it.
So it looks to me, based on your backlog here, that he's due for another visit to check in on how he stands on PDF files in about a week or so. So
yeah, there's gonna be a video about it for sure. There's the debate. Pretty good. Yeah. Good times. Long kid dumb. Those were the days, right, guys? Everybody's watching now like, why don't you do that again? Do that content again. Because I don't want to. It sucks. I hate that.
And also because it's not as relevant anymore. Like it served its purpose.
The whole point of me covering it was basically to be like, do you guys realize that this is not really about fandom stuff for them? Like that's not what they're doing. And now it's just like that's not a secret anymore.
Yeah. And it also played a role, I don't know how significant, but a role in all of their channels' declines. There's a reason that only the big dogs are really still pulling in numbers and the rest of them are all kind of dying off. And it's because content like yours inspired other people to come along. And it was a contributing factor for sure. There are others, but this was not an insignificant one.
I mean, I still see, you can go around, especially like Saltier Than Crate, the one with the K on Reddit and see us generally or individually mentioned as, it's around, I definitely haven't had the most impact. I mean, I think that somebody like Pillar of Garbage and Birdman and stuff are, but
for sure, but you open the door, like
saying that I hope somebody comes along and does this at a higher level than I can,
right. And you and Bob opened the door for that. And Turf opened the door for other people and said and showed the way basically. And now you've got like Birdman, Otterly Noah, Eric Debunks, all showing their power levels now because you guys opened the door for them. And it is having an effect. This is why Jeremy is focusing on politics now and not geek stuff, because there's no money left in that.
TTBN, yeah.
TTBN is another good one, yeah.
Yep. Oh yeah, he's look, and Jeremy Griggs just was saying such a leftist tactic to do that, but now I remember that this dude was his writer for his website was saying that Gail Simone sent her hate mob after him. Which is just not something that happened. What he means by that,
and geeks and gamers. Oh my god!
What he means by that is he had a couple of people reply to his tweet probably that were talking shit.
Yeah.
Oh man, good times. Yeah, he's a cowardly bigot. Still, that's true. Truer now than ever before. And he's also, look, I didn't think he'd get much worse, but here we are. He is pro pedo.
Yeah. And that I think is in a weird way, the silver lining, because this whole scandal is going to make all of these freaks from the Christian nationalist and tech bro sectors show their true colors. They're all going to talk the way Megyn Kelly talked and not understand why the rest of us are offended by it, because this is how they talk among themselves. This is what they and all their friends think is normal.
Because to them, that actually does, it makes sense to them because they don't understand consent at all.
Yeah.
So that's the key thing, is that they don't understand that. So they think it is actually pretty significantly different that a 15-year-old is not a 5-year-old. It's like, man, if only you fucking paid attention when people were trying to get you to understand consent, dude, you wouldn't be fucking putting yourself out there like this.
Yeah.
They're doing.
So they're all going to take their masks off, and they're all going to like, because this is what I think. I honestly believe that what is really sticking in Trump's craw is that he can't just say he did it and act like it's normal, because that's what he's done with every other scandal that's come his way. Is he's just kind of owned it and been like, yeah, I did it, fuck you, because that's what's normal in his circle. And I think he really wants to unleash and just say he did this too. What's the big deal? And everyone around him is like, no, don't shut the fuck up, man. This will kill, you know. I think that's what really bothers him. So if we keep pushing him, he's gonna do it the way he did on the airplane a couple months ago with the Virginia Giuffre thing, where he just admitted, yeah, she worked at my spa giving massages when she was a minor, and Jeffrey Epstein stole her.
Oof. Yep. And he was very incensed about that.
Yeah.
How dare you steal my underage masseuse / sex slave? How dare you, sir? Well, have you no shame, sir? That's basically his attitude. The whole thing. It's like, wow, you really are disconnected from like reality and morality, buddy. Yeah. On that note, let's see what I got here. Well, I've got several of these little Griggs things, but I don't want to upload each one of them individually, and I don't want to play the whole thing. But yeah, I guess go back and watch the Geeks and Gamers Dude Used to Be a Normal Guy video. If you haven't seen that from 9 months ago, a lot of his people showed up and were really upset about that video, pointing out that he actually used to not be a radicalized. He was probably always conservative, probably always a dickhead. You know what I mean? But he was not what he is now. And it's pretty clear that he was a guy who liked his dogs and shit, and like just enjoyed talking about superhero movies and stuff without any weird context applied to it. But then the algorithm got him. The MAGA-rhythm got hold of his ass, and he's too stupid to fucking break loose. Yeah, so we will follow him till the wheels fall off, I suppose, and see how far he goes with this shit. He can be one of our test cases. I'm sure we'll have other ones, but
yeah.
Promote something, Bob.
Well, I have nothing immediately to promote, but I will say, I know I'm behind the times on this, but I just finished watching Andor. Okay. Now I have to rewatch all Star Wars.
It does give you that motivation.
Yeah. And I am cooking a video that's going to be part of a new mythology series I'm doing. That's about Star Wars. I'm going to use Star Wars as the example of when and how does a story become an actual myth? Because I think Star Wars is an actual myth cycle now and not just entertainment. It's going to be like the Iliad or the Odyssey centuries from now for future generations. So I'm probably going to start doing a lot of Star Wars related content along the way. I was trying to put out a Predator Badlands video, but I couldn't quite get what I wanted to say right. So that's on the back burner for now. Maybe I'll wait till it drops on streaming.
Well, looking forward to it. Subscribe to Bob of the Old Ways down in the below.
Please do.
As well as whoever else might be down there. Probably several people. Subscribe to all of us. All of them. They're all good. Except for that one, but they know who they are. And then I guess check out the Shillcast this week. I imagine, unless you see an update somewhere, that's going to be on Wednesday as normal. And I guess we just have to get into looking at the EFAP coverage of the criticism of Drinker's video, which is genuinely as almost as dishonest as the fucking Hollywood Hates Men one. They're all of his videos are dishonest, but that Hollywood Hates Men one, it's like every single thing he says almost is a deception or just flat out wrong.
Yeah, Eric did say in his server today, I'm gonna destroy these guys next week, but tonight I've got some shit to do.
Yeah. Yep. Well, on that note, I suppose the only thing I have to do here is just play some of my music and get the fuck out of here so I can get my son in in the shower and then ready for bed and all that stuff. So
awesome.
Trans rights, human rights, all rights to all humans.
Based.
Except Chud rights. No Chud rights. But
Chuds have rights too. They just don't have privileges.
True. You don't have the right to be a piece of shit, without me fucking being a bigger piece of shit back to you. And honestly, the fact that these guys have never fucking, like, specifically the main guys, and that's the reason why they're still, even to whatever degree they are still successful, is because they were smart enough to recognize they should not engage with criticism against people like me. They would not have, there has been times Griggs did that, didn't turn out too well for him. So Nerdrotic seems to be the smartest one in that sense. Is like, he's like, I know there's no way, I can't, because if you see them on like Piers Morgan or whatever, whenever there's some pushback, they don't fucking have anything to say to it. It's yeah. Anyways, I tell you, I'm pretty offended by that content that we watched with Jeremy Griggs, and the fact is that
like I don't get offended by shit.
So, but I tell you what I do like a lot.
All right, you need to go get the boy ready for school.
That's true. All right. On that note, here is this.
A lot of people think like urban areas are more tolerant than rural areas. I think that's not true. I think America's pretty equally racist all over. Rural racism is broad, urban racism is specific. Does that make sense? Like my farmer uncles are like, we hate brown people. They just hate all of them. They don't really pick. And then in New York, racism is like, I hate Trinidadians because they don't respect the bike lanes. How come Dominicans can say the N-word, but I can't? I hate Haitians because they're black and French. Don't even get me started with the Bosnians. White Muslims.
Very pleased to be with you on this holy day of Bill. May Bill Gaines shine his heavenly light upon you and impregnate you with many happy days and joy fetuses. Go with comfort that you have satisfied the commands of the one true Bill, those being this: read comic books. Fuck the dumb shit. Be yourself. Love each other. Also, read more comics. Amen.
Don't forget to subscribe.
The road to moral panic. Rational concern becomes irrational fear. Fear. Moral panic is defined as public anxiety or alarm in response to a perceived threat to the moral standards of society. Perceived threat. The road to moral panic has several stops. The first is concern. This concern, united at first, spreads from person to person, amplified by cultural force, until rational concern becomes irrational. Fear becomes irrational. Fear more terrifying? Ask yourself, what's more terrifying?
This dread is ever present. The cult has got us feeling tense. The kings are stealing the future from the peasants, and they retcon the past to erase their sins. I need something for my nerves, something to cure these crucifixion blues. I wish I could find some comfort in impending doom. Soon we'll have nothing left, and nothing left to lose. The only way out. Soundtrack of shame and sirens. Still the hive consumes. If you're looking for a little peace and quiet, I've got some bad fucking news for you. You need something for your nerves, something to deal with these zealots in the cloud up there.
Like, I don't get offended by shit.